Hey everyone, it's Types, and today we're talking yet again about Pokemon TCG Live. I'd love to say that this is good news, but I would say it's not good news or not news, but I think it is something important to take a look at. This was a letter released by TPCI. TPCI, if you didn't know, is the Pokemon Company International. That's what it stands for. And it is not the same as the Pokemon Company. I think it's like a part of it or something. But anyways, that's the company that makes Pokemon TCG Live, and that's not the company that makes Pocket. They're different companies. This is the one that does the international stuff. This is going to be outside of Japan. But anyways, we see that there's this letter sent about Pokemon TCG Live recently-ish, like maybe a week ago. I had my podcast with Uncommon Fossil, I believe, where we talked about, it might have been over a week ago, I don't remember, but we talked about Live, and before that I made a video talking about Live as well with some of the issues it's been having. Obviously, Pokemon TCG Live has its issues. I will say, before we like really dive into this, I guess like Live. I don't know. It's a game that's really flawed, but I really like Pokemon TCG, and I legitimately want a really good client. So if I'm being harsh on it, and if I say it's bad, it has a lot of flaws, but I want it to be good, right? I don't want it to be bad, even though it being bad can make for some funny content I make fun of. I really, really want it to be good. I love playing Pokemon TCG. There are so many people who do it and enjoy the game. And it does have some positives as well, which I'll talk about in just a second, compared to other online TCG platforms and similar games. But for the most part, it has, I mean, just the bugs, right? And ultimately, this letter is talking about. I haven't actually read through it. Uncommon Fossil kind of talked to me about it, and I actually haven't read through it. I'm not just going to be reading it in this video, but with this letter, they're just talking about stuff. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like things are necessarily going in a super good direction, but at least they're being honest about it. So that is good. But as I said, there is something good about Live, which is the cost. It's free. And you can essentially get all the cards for free. I mean, realistically, you can. Technically, there are cards you can't get. Like, I don't know. There's, I think, that stadium that gives your Psyduck one less retreat cost or whatever, Paradise Resort, which is a Worlds promo. This card is legal. Yeah, this is a Scarlet Violet promo. It's not a card I don't think, ever seen anyone play. I mean, it's not good. But anyways, this card, as far as I'm aware, you can't get in Live for free. You could redeem the code card. Normally, for a veteran player, you can get all the stuff you need for free. Not all the arts, but you can get all like the cards and actually play whatever deck you want. For a new player, you're not gonna be able to get all the stuff. You're gonna be able to get some decent stuff. I guess I will mention, unfortunately, related to bugs and stuff, that in terms of free stuff, Pokemon TCG Live hasn't done a great job of giving the like starter decks to all the players, or at least not making it clear. But I don't think they're giving them all, which is very unfortunate there. But ultimately, in terms of getting cards, it is really good. And in terms of being able to play the game and play the decks you want to play. That's good compared to certain other clients. I'm somewhat familiar with the Magic, the Gathering client, and I know you can't get the all the top decks are free, period. You just can't really do that as far as I'm aware. Maybe with a lot of grinding, but certainly it can be a little frustrating there, I think. Anyways, so that is the good thing. Wanted to get that out of the way. That's not what this is actually about, this letter here, though. But anyways, so this is a letter here. Apparently, they're nearing the third anniversary and continuing to hear from people. I'm reading this here on the community forums. There are community forums. We can, I guess, report bugs and like talk about stuff. There's some stuff there, and it can be interesting, but it can be not. I mean, it's, how much are you gonna expect from an online forums? You get some good stuff. You get like some random stuff as well. And anyways, this is where it is, and they are looking at it. And they are like definitely looking at it. I'm pretty sure. There's like a list of known bugs. I think they recently removed a bunch of bugs from it. They didn't like remove the bugs from the game. They just removed the bugs from the list. But they are like kind of paying attention. Anyway, so there's a way for competitive players to go train and stuff. Ultimately, I've kind of talked about this in the past, where we do understand the importance of it. I do want them to focus more on casual players, and I've kind of talked about this a lot with trainer trials and things like that. But anyway, so then they said, when they asked the community for what's most important, everyone's like the bugs, right? The bugs are an issue. Well, you could kind of debate different things, like specifically features, and kind of compare that to other games. and Pokemon TCG Live doesn't have particularly strong features. The bugs are, I'd say, definitely a lot bigger of an issue. Certainly there are some features that are easy to add that aren't in the game, which is, or presumably easy to add, which aren't in the game, which I would say is unfortunate. Like, for example, live expanded friend matches, but ultimately, I mean, you can play standard. That's what most people play anyways. So the features are passable and the bugs are very problematic. So talking about them, they recently updated them. I will mention with the updates, I don't know if this is just me. I haven't been paying attention to what everyone's been saying about it, but I've noticed it to be more blurry with like certain text and stuff. I don't know if I've noticed more bugs, but it's definitely a little weird, but there's some cool stuff. They also changed, I think they changed the order of the deck importing. So now you I don't remember what the order was before and what it is now, but I think they changed and flipped the import deck versus create like blank new decks. So I keep going to import decks and creating blank decks. But anyways, they changed some stuff. They add some new features, some pretty small features, but some stuff. Anyways, so then they say they're making this game to be a way to play the physical TCG but play it online, right? And it's important for the game to be good. And then it talks about there's bugs, and of course there's going to be bugs in any game. I'm not going to sit here and like ultimately, for example, there was a bug with Pokestop, which is a stadium that rotated, and Toad School, which also rotated. But anyways, you had these cards. They had a strange interaction, something that's I'd say not intuitive, and it was wrong in the game. And I'm not going to bash them for that. I think it was fine. Obviously it was wrong, but it was a mistake in the game. But I'm not going to bash them for that. There were lots of things like that. There was one of the Lisa Sparkle, which was a supporter card, and the way that card worked, it was just a bug. It wasn't a huge bug. It didn't drastically impact the game. It was wrong, but it was easy to see why they got it wrong, and they got it wrong. But then it took like a really long time to fix these. Some of them not as long, right? The Toad School one, the Pokestop Toad School one, I believe they fixed pretty quickly, but the Lisa Sparkle one. Actually, tell me in the comment section, is that one fixed? I don't know. I know it's been in the game since launch. I think it was fixed after. I was gonna say 3 years. Clearly, it's not 3 years if the game's not 3 years old, but it took a really long time, at least a year. I'm pretty sure. Anyways, so that there are a lot of bugs, and those are smaller bugs, and they're like bigger bugs. There are some completely game-breaking bugs. There's one big bug that they're kind of addressing, and I would say is not quite game-breaking, but not just a tiny thing either. But there have been some legitimately game-breaking bugs. One I will say is with Palafin EX. Palafin EX was given out for free. Palafin EX is a cool card. It's not a very good card, but it's really fun. And it completely broke the game. Like when I say completely broke the game, it I don't really know what it did, but it broke the game. Long story short, you can actually check. I think there's a short on my channel where I played it, and there's actually a video as well where I played Palafin EX. And if you've seen that video, that it was completely broken. If you played with that card as well, it like really messed things up. I don't really know what it did, but it completely like obliterated the game, and in some very strange ways. But anyways, and that the issue isn't that part of the issue is that the card was really broken, to the point where they must have not tested it like at all, but then they literally gave it out to everyone for free. This card that like completely broke the game. So everyone's just like playing this stack, or I guess they weren't playing it for very long because after you played it for one game, you realized, well, actually maybe more than one game because it was bad and hard to set up. But after you played it and actually used it, you realize that it's it's a bit broken. So and then I guess people stopped. But anyways, that was an experience there, and this is egregious, right? So here they're talking about some of these bugs are easy to overlook. Ultimately, as I do understand it, they definitely don't test things very well. I don't think. Maybe they have some different testing than the actual game in a way that causes them to miss bugs. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with things like this, but I do understand that. And ultimately, they're kind of talking here about the fact that they are needing to see. I think looking ahead is where they kind of do it here. As I said, I haven't read through this. I talked over Lincoln Fossil, but they are, making sure to actually, there's a good amount of content they're making. There's new sets every like couple of months there. So they're making sure that they actually add the content, which is important, but they're not able to spend as much time as they want on these bugs. I said it looks like not very much. Unfortunately, I don't know how big the team is. There's like the running joke that it's just one person. It's not just one person, but presumably, surely it's not just one person. But anyway, so you know, I understand it's difficult. And then they said they have a list, but it's hard to look at or to like hunt down. Some are still under investigation, which seems like most of them. Surely, if they're not under investigation, then they should be fixed, right? Or they gave up. I don't know. But anyways, so you can submit support tickets as well. I will mention this. So support tickets are I'm even going to open up here. Okay, this is how you what? I guess you submit support tickets here. I don't know. I've never actually. I don't know if I've done that before. But I think you can say on the forum. I mean, the forums has a bug section, so presumably you should be able to do that. And then one here that has been talked about a lot is searching. This is the specific one when. So I'm going to talk about this a little. So it says when you're searching your deck, sometimes you're unable to select specific cards. As far as I'm aware, the card is the first card essentially all the time. I don't know. Tell me in the comment section if you've had it not be the first card. But anyways, from what I've seen, it's essentially always the first card. At least like almost all the time. But anyways, this means you can't select it, you can't take the card, and that's bad. It doesn't crash your game, but it does hurt you. It's pretty rough for you. And I will also mention, so you're not able to click on the card. And then you're talking about it here. It's difficult because it's not predictable. Probably something to do with I'm not like super good at coding, but maybe like a memory leak or something. I don't really know that. Don't quote me on that or anything like that. But it definitely seems like something kind of weird like that. And I understand bugs can be kind of hard to fix, and weird stuff happens. I program some. I don't program a lot, and when I do, it's not very good. But yeah, I'm certainly not programming for a lot of people. I'd be programming for myself. Sometimes, I guess, for YouTube videos from time to time to get like data or something. But I understand it's hard to fix these issues. Related to this issue, the not being able to select cards. I've had it happen with like say boss's orders or some type of gusting or really anything. You just can't click on the card. There was a video at where I played something. I think I had counter catchers, which is like boss, I guess, if you don't know that card. But with that, you click on a card to gust it up, and I was like, oh, I can't click on it. Someone was like, I was like, I can't counter catcher, and I was like annoyed. And then someone in the video was like, you didn't even play counter catcher. How do you know you can click it? Or how do you know you can use it? And I was like, I couldn't click on the Pokemon. So yeah, there are different times you can't be able to click on cards. Um, it's definitely, a difficult issue to look at, and I think it's a big thing. They are still working on it. They're not super sure, and I do understand this, but it is a big bug. Okay, the bug's been in the game the whole time as well. That's a big thing, as I said, or as they said, it's like 3 years, and they haven't fixed the bug. It is a really big one, and well, it could be very difficult to figure out. It's one of the biggest bugs in the game. As said, there are some that are completely game breaking. This is not at that level, but I'd say it's also not. No, I was gonna say not super frequent. Oh, from what I've heard as well, it's more likely to happen the longer the game's going on. I don't think I don't know if they said it here, but ultimately that's weird. And if you're having that bug, honestly, in general with Pokemon TCG Live, if you're having bugs that aren't like super clear what the cause is. And also, I will say with bugs, make sure they're actually bugs. I was like looking through the bug reporting section on the forums, and someone like played Lotus Clefairy EX and like attacked with it that turn or something, which like isn't a bug. That's just like playing the game. I actually didn't look through everything, but the bug quote is that they played and like attacked with it, presumably by like energy switching or Crispin or something. So that was make sure that your bugs are actually bugs, and there are some things that are confusing, and don't just assume it's a bug. Consider that you might not be super, you might have missed something on the board or whatever. There are definitely times I'm like, why can't I play my ace back and then like Genesis X there and I just missed it, and that's just me being silly. But there definitely are these bugs that are kind of weird to nail down, and but they really do need to fix these. And as I said, this is beyond the like completely game breaking ones. This is a moderately big deal. Again, if you're having bugs, though, just close your game and reopen it if you can after that game. So that is recommended by me. I guess I will mention as well, I believe when they're doing maintenance, sometimes they are like the game's open, and then that's going to potentially cause bugs, which is like pretty understandable, I suppose. But anyways, so then they have this last section here looking ahead. There's still a lot of issues to fix. As I said, they like remove some, not the issues, but the issues from the list. Including those pertaining to card loading and match stability. These are complex and, if not fixed carefully, could introduce other unintended problems, which probably the cause of them. They are spending a lot of time, but then it also says community teams, or like, that they're really needing the community's help for like catching these things as well. I understand that, and I agree with it. You know, the community should be able to should do what they can to help out the game, but like the community isn't making the game either. You know, um, I don't know exactly where the problem lies, but you know, this isn't in beta. If it was in beta, I'd be like, yeah, the community. Exactly what can you expect from the game, right? And Live was in beta for a while to the point where it wasn't really in beta, I would say, but like it's an actual game with actual issues that are, you know, need to be solved by actual people who work on the game, as opposed to just random guesses by the community and random guesses to what even the issue is. Because as they are saying, it is a complicated issue. They're excited to, you know, do a lot of things and continue developing the game. And I am excited for this as well, but definitely nervous that they're kind of saying, you know, I guess it is good that they're admitting their struggle. We've kind of known that. Uh, they don't have a solution really, so that's not so good. But ultimately, I'm hopeful. I guess I don't know. I don't really know what to say about this one. I don't know where to end it. It's not, you know, uh, it's not an amazing place to end the video, but here it is. The game is live. I don't know. I really don't know what to say about it at this point. Unfortunately, you know, they're really struggling here. The game generally with each set release is doing kind of okay with some issues. Sometimes it gets kind of bad. It's usually not catastrophic and usually gets like to a decent. I mean, I'd say it's like generally most of the time in a decent place. So it's kind of passable. And as I said, it is free, which is really nice as well. But has a long way to go. Well, I don't know if it actually has a long way to go, like in terms of the amount of stuff that needs changing, but in terms of the amount of time, it looks like there still is a long time. They are presumably going to add expanded this year in some, or add to expanded, not add all of expanded necessarily this year. I think they'll add. I don't know. I've talked about it in the past. I think I want them to add like one set at a time, kind of hype it up and get people excited about it. But I'd expect maybe a year's worth of sets. Probably the last year of X and Y is my guess, but who knows what they'll do with that. They did say they are going to do some stuff with it. I guess they didn't confirm they were actually adding cards. I think they said they were going to like start working on it or something like that. But I am hopeful for the future, but you never know. I'm definitely not overly optimistic either. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section and what your thoughts are for like what the best course of action is for this. Obviously, it's a situation as a community here that really does need to hopefully be fixed, and I don't know exactly how that's going to happen. Hopefully they're expanding their team. I've heard some info on that, but it's kind of hard to like figure out as well. But I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe. That really does help support me. Liking the video helps show this video to other people. And if you like watched it to the end, you probably kind of liked it, right? So you should actually like it. And if you also watch the end, you should probably subscribe because you'll probably like my other content as well. Also, huge shout outs to my YouTube members for supporting my channel. It really, really does mean a lot for me, to me, that you're able to do this, and I really appreciate it. And there's some cool stuff you can get as well. And like comment, I'd love to see people's thoughts. But I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.